Welcome to Our Drummers Musicians, your backstage pass to Melbourne's vibrant music scene. Recorded on a cosy couch in Brunswick, join us as we explore what it truly means to be a musician, as we speak to the diverse talents that make music in our city. Today, we're chatting with Abbey Rose, a Canadian-born, Darwin-raised songwriter who has made a significant mark in Melbourne, Naarm. Abbey skillfully blends rich lyricism with catchy hooks and deep grooves, influenced by R&B, hip-hop, jazz, and rock. Her music, deeply personal and introspective, features soulful vocals and a hip-hop flair that critics celebrate for its perfect mix of swagger and vulnerability. Beginning her career in Darwin, Abbey opened for acts like Naarm and Emma Louise before relocating to Melbourne to study jazz improvisation. Here, she honed her vocal skills, formed a live band, and emerged as a distinctive storyteller, also known for her work with femme-hop group, The Mamas. Join us as we delve into Abbey's musical journey, her distinctive style, and discuss how she uses personal stories to create music that is both vulnerable and powerful. We want to take a moment to acknowledge the Wurundjeri Woiwurrung people of the Kulin Nation as the traditional custodians on the land in which this podcast was recorded. We pay our respects to their elders, past, present, and emerging. Welcome to the podcast, Abbey.
Hello. You know what? I had my eyes closed and I was grooving to the intro music. So I was caught off guard.
I guess that's like the fun, I suppose, for me, and the terrifying thing for guests is that the podcast is unreleased, so nobody knows what it's about or what the music is like or anything.
No, it's fresh and delicious. Sorry. I'm excited to be here. I'm full of beans and I'm ready to go, and I'm excited to have a lovely little conversation.
Well, what's the most recent album that you've listened to?
Oh, such a good question. I have to take a big swallow. When I get all excited, I get a dry mouth. Okay. What albums have I been listening to? Do you know what? I found this artist on TikTok like the other week. Mm-hmm. Her name is Critter. And she's a rapper.
How do you spell Critter?
It's like CR and then the number 1 and then TTER. I just found one of her videos on TikTok and I was like, what is this music? What's this? And then I checked her out. And then now I've just absolutely dived in.
Okay.
And I've just been listening to all her music. And so I would say all her albums now.
All of them?
Yeah.
Cool. Where is the artist from?
Look, somewhere in America.
Okay.
I don't know. But maybe I should know, considering I've done the deep dive. But it's more of a deep dive into the tunes rather than the details.
Nice. What was it about it that drew you in?
I don't know. It was just like this sort of intersection of like emo vibes and trap.
Okay.
You know, hi-hats.
Right.
And something about it was just so fresh and unique. And I love my hip-hop. So, yeah, that's what I've been listening to.
Cool.
That's my answer.
Well, the fun thing about your music, for me, is that it's like such an interesting blend of lots of different genres and so distinct from the jazz vocalist that I knew when I met you studying at Monash Uni.
Yes.
Where did this like fusion of various styles and genres come from? Was it something that you saw in other artists that inspired you, something that's like, I don't know, followed you your whole musical life, or something completely different that I'd love for you to share?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I'm trying to think of the right answer. I think I grew up loving like rock and a lot of harder kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah?
Whenever I was in the car with my dad, we'd listen to like Rammstein and like Metallica or Evanescence.
Oh, yeah?
Or the Baby Animals. And so I loved the passion of that sort of music, like emotions to the front. I love that so much. But then when I was in the car with my mum, I'd listen to a lot more chilled out R&B kind of stuff, like India Arie. I love India Arie.
Yeah.
And so I think I just grew up loving lots of different sorts of music and singing along to lots of different things and yeah, I guess it was just inevitable that all those things would kind of collide with my music and with my band. Like, it wasn't until recently that I was listening back to my band and I was like, this is actually really rocky. And I never meant for it to be rocky. It just kind of ended up that way.
Yeah, right.
And it feels so, like, it makes so much sense. I'm like, oh, of course my tunes sound like this when they're with the live band. Of course. It's all the things that I love.
Yeah.
It's like, it's funky, it's rocky, it's like really sort of feisty, passionate kind of music. Like, there's a lot of emotions and they're right there at the front. So, yeah. Is that a good answer?
It was an excellent answer.
I hope it is. I'm trying to think. I'm on the spot.
Well,
Sorry.
it's fine. Well, let's talk about the band. I'm quite interested in asking things about why different musicians choose their collaborators.
Yeah.
And, you know, the different relationships that there are. Sometimes, like, people work with family or, like, a purely professional relationship. And, yeah, it'd be awesome to hear about why you chose the different musicians that you did. And, you know, I guess what's the character of your band?
In my band, I have Connor on the drums, I have Tom on the guitar, I have Liam on the bass, and they're three of the best fellas you could ever find in the whole world. Very lucky to play music with them. They're all awesome people, and we get along like a house on fire whenever we're hanging out. And, well, all the people that I choose to play with are all my friends. They're all people that I like and that I know are good people. I know we can get along. I know that we'll always have a good time and we can have a laugh, you know, in the rehearsal room. I think that's really important, being able to be yourself and share things and, like, be friends. And also, like, it's just uncanny that, yes, they're my friends, but also they're just awesome at their instruments. So Connor he plays drums in my band and he's been in the band since, like, day one. And I remember probably first year uni or maybe second year uni, I went up to him and I was like, do you want to play in my recital? You're my friend. Do you want to be in my recital? And he was like, okay. And just never looked back.
Cool.
I was just like, you're my friend and you're, you know, amazing at the drums. Come be in my band. And it's always good vibes. And I love the feeling of bringing music to them and knowing that they're going to, like, do their best to make it sound awesome and use their own creativity and take, like, what I've written on the chart and put their own personal little sprinkle on it. So, yeah.
So how much information do you give them when you've written a song? Like you mentioned charts.
Yeah.
Is that something that you are always doing? Everything's always written out? Is that part of, like, your creative process to do that, or just something that comes later but the easiest way to communicate it with the band?
I think when I'm coming up with an idea for a song, I will just have, like, chicken scratchings on a piece of paper. It'll just be, like, random chords and little voice notes in my phone of different sections. And then when I get to the point where I'm like, right, it's done, let's lock it in, lock in the arrangement, bring it to the band, I like to do a nice, pretty little chart.
Cool.
And put in as much information as I can. And it's a bit of a running joke that I'll put in, like, the silliest little notes on the on the chart. I'll be like, oh, this section, guitar does little sprinkly, plinkly, little treaty, little sweetie bits. And the guys just get it.
Awesome.
They're like, 100%, got it, bang, no further questions. But yes, I like to have as much notated as possible in on the actual, like, music with the notes and stuff, but also some little written notes.
Sure.
It's where I inject my personality.
It's great. It's great that you've got the relationship where they get you.
Yeah.
And it sounds like it would be such an easy way to get people to start playing your music exactly how you'd want them.
Yeah.
If you're already charting it and then they understand, like, you know, the vernacular that you use to describe something and pull it off in a way that's exactly as you wanted it. It sounds awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. I think when you've been playing with someone for a long time, you can just look at them and be like, oh, can you do this thing? And you can, like, use your own weird language and they'll just get it. And I'm like, that's priceless when you've got that close connection with the people in your band.
Yeah. So what's it like when, you know, I mentioned in the introduction about your lyrics and how they're quite vulnerable in that you're using, like, personal stories often, it seems, as, like, the inspiration or the actual like the story of the song.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's, like, some vulnerability in that, and it's also quite powerful, and I'm sure
Thanks.
could also be empowering for yourself and like people listening.
Yeah.
What's it like with the band to like be sharing, you know, so much personal information, I guess, about yourself in the music?
Yeah, look, it's a funny thing. I think for me, it doesn't really feel like anything. It's just like, oh, this is my song, this is my story, this is it, let's go. And I'm not like shy or embarrassed about it. I'm just like, here we go, guys, let's rock.
Yeah.
And I think when we perform the songs on the gig, it's such a special thing to tell a really personal story, like with the details and with the messy bits, like in the song, and stand there in front of the crowd and be like, this is a song about blah, blah, and blah, blah, blah. And then have people in the crowd be like, oh my gosh, that happened to me.
Yeah.
Or like, I totally get it. And I'm like, when you take that risk of being really vulnerable and really honest about something that happened in your life, I think the reward is so awesome when someone on the other side of it gets it, and you can just feel it. You can feel that they get it.
Yeah.
It's like, I have such a good feeling. That's what it's all about, I think. Yeah. Not for all songs. I have some songs that are a bit more vague and a bit more, I don't know, on a different vibe. But I think my specialty is cranky, personal, fiery, feisty songs where the emotions are right at the front. And I'm like, that's the path that I want to keep following.
Yeah, cool.
Because I think it works.
Definitely. On the level of that it's, I think, unique to you in the way that you do it, but also excellently performed within the scope of the music.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Shucks.
How much have you found that, you know, the stories that you shared have resonated with people on that personal level of, you know, I've experienced that too, or I've seen that as well?
Yeah, a lot. I've got songs about like relationships, songs about friendships, songs about, I don't know, certain feelings. Like I've got a song called Not Interested, and that's a song about like a friendship gone wrong. And yeah, I kind of get into it in those lyrics. And I think particularly telling the story before we play the song, that's when a lot of that community feeling in the room is built. When people be like, okay, this song's about this thing. I've experienced this. And that's when you forge like a little bond with everyone in the crowd who gets it or who, you know, is on board or whatever. And yeah, I really like leaning into the banter, leaning into the storytelling, and I feel like that's like 50% of the gig almost.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know if that's controversial to say. It feels for me like it's just as important as the music, like connecting and telling the story, getting people relaxed and laughing and enjoying themselves.
It's so interesting because some bands just get up and play and some people absolutely love it and they go, oh, no, I wanted the story. Or, you know, I'm the opposite as well.
Yeah.
Were there some people in particular that, you know, inspired you with that as you were younger, that you know, went to shows and felt that connection with them that have made you, you know, follow in their footsteps? Or it's just been something authentic to you that you wanted to, you know, build more connection by explaining more so that when, you know, the emotion of the song whilst it's being performed is there's that little bit of an introduction to start the connection?
Yes. I'm racking my brains right now. I'm trying to think, was I inspired by like a particular person who has good banter and good stories? And I'm drawing a blank. I don't know. I probably was. Maybe I'll have to think about it and send you an email because I'm not sure. But I think I've always loved speaking in front of a crowd. I've always loved being the center of attention. Even at my day job when I have to make an announcement over the loudspeaker, I'm just like, it is go time. It's time to shine. I just love it. And so when I'm on the gig and I got the mic and I start telling a story, I'm just like, I feel so comfortable and so like excited to be there sharing something and seeing people reacting, seeing people engaged. I love it when people call out with something, like they've got something to add or they're, I don't know, affected by something. It was a long, windy way of answering the question.
No, but it was nice.
The answer is, I love it.
Great.
I'm here for it. I love talking to people.
When did you first notice that you liked being the center of attention? And
It's so embarrassing.
I don't think it's a bad thing. And you've clearly used it to your advantage by being comfortable sharing your story and being on stage and speaking into a mic and singing. These are all things I suppose that might have held somebody else back who was too nervous to get up there and jump on the mic.
True.
But I don't know, it comes across that you're able to you do it and so naturally. And so then, of course, some of your lyrics are going to be confronting and powerful. And
they are confronting. Look, do you know what? That's a really interesting question. And now that I think about it, I don't know if I do always love being the centre of attention. I think it's more in specific circumstances.
Okay.
Like being on the gig, love it. Making an announcement over the loudspeaker at any point, I'm ready to go. I will make that announcement. But when I used to do piano and I would have piano recitals, I just hated it so much to the point where I was actually trying to hold back vomit.
Oh.
Sorry, hate is such a strong word. I loved playing the piano. I loved learning a tune and smashing it out. I loved that. But having to get up and do a recital and everyone is sitting there quietly in like the local, wherever it was, church or rec centre or I don't know.
Yep.
What is a rec centre? I don't know why I said that. I don't know what that is. A building, a community building. Everyone's just sitting there and it's quiet and you can hear like the aircon. You can hear the buzz of the light. And I have to get up there and play Mozart, Sonata and C. That feeling is just horrible. And I still remember how it would feel.
Yeah, right.
And I would come out of it and I'd be like, oh. So I didn't enjoy that sort of centre of attention. But I think like acting, being in the school play or being involved in some sort of production when I was growing up, I loved that. That was like having the first sip of the most delicious glass of juice you've ever tasted in your life. That's the only way for me to explain it. Like really delicious, sweet breakfast juice when you've just woken up. I remember my first time being on a stage and I was in, I don't know, primary school growing up in Canada. And I was waiting backstage for my turn to do my thing. And I was like, oh, this is good. What's this all about? This tastes like juice.
Do you remember which character and in what musical this was?
I have no idea what it was for. It was probably just something little.
Okay.
Probably in year 2 or year 3 or something.
Yeah.
But I've just been chasing that feeling. I think it's like having fun, having something to share, wanting to do a good job so that the people in the crowd have a good time too. I love all that. Love those things. But yeah, didn't feel that way about the piano recitals.
Interesting.
So what are we going to make of that?
Yeah, I don't know.
What's the answer?
Well, the second part to my question was, rather than just, first experience of the attention, about like first experience of sharing your music.
Yeah.
And like having the response of somebody connecting with it.
Yeah.
When did that start for you?
That's a good question. I think, look, as long as I've been a person, I've been creating things and sharing things. Like it probably would have started with all my little stuffed toys and having characters and scenarios and like being like, Mum, come here. I've got a game. There's a story and there's a game and there's characters and I need you over here. Come to my room, Mum. Have a look. And I guess that then evolved into trying to like write stories and I'd make little books. All the main characters were always cats. I was a full-on cat girl.
Wow.
Drawing pictures, creating characters. I was always making something and wanting to share. And then that would turn into writing like longer stories and then coming up with little songs that never really went anywhere. And then when I started playing the piano, then I was coming up with more little songs. And then I remember being in the lounge room with my mum and I was like, Mum, I've written Cats 2. I've written Cats the Musical 2. This time it's personal, featuring Abbey. And you, Mum, It's going to be me and Mum, and we're doing Cats 2 in the lounge. And I had songs and I had characters, and we were going to be cats.
That's awesome.
Yes. You know, it never went to Broadway, mind you.
Yeah.
It stayed in the lounge.
For now. Have you tried to pitch it?
No.
Oh, don't hold yourself back.
Okay. Yeah. No, that's fair enough. I don't know why I ever put that on the shelf. So that's what's the question?
Well, I was asking about like when you felt the connection of your own music with somebody else.
Yeah.
Like bridging from it's great to get up and do this performance and it's fun and I'm singing other people's music. But what drew you to sharing your own story rather than pursuing, you know, either something in like music theatre where you're doing musicals or like, you know, covers or BVs? Like what was it about, or was there a first experience where you shared your own music with somebody else and there was that connection that you know, speak so excitedly about now?
Yes. I'm racking my brain. I can think of one example. I think this was the first time that I ever did any sort of recording, and I was in high school, and I think we went to like the local university to see their music studio as like an excursion, and as a special treat, I think they recorded me doing a song and some other people doing a song. And so I recorded like an original song for the first time, and then they bounced it and gave it to me so I could put it on my iPod.
Oh, cool.
And then I remember like getting the bus to school probably the next day or something and putting in my earphones and hearing my own song. And it was a song that I'd written about this tumultuous relationship that I had when I was in year 9. Bless. Everything is so intense in year 9 and in year 10. Well, I don't know if it's just me, but emotions running high. It's like life and death. Every emotion is the biggest emotion you've ever felt. And so I wrote this song about this relationship, and then I listened back to it. And I was like, that's my song about my feelings. And something about listening to it, it was like so validating to be like, oh, that is my story. And I recorded it, and there it is.
Wow.
And I remember showing it to my friends, and they were like, oh, that's so cool. That's your song. And I was like, yeah, it is. It is my song. And that feeling of like getting something off your chest and then being able to share it and being like, this is my thing out in the world. This is my feeling. This is my story. And other people being able to listen to it and see themselves in it. Like, oh, yes, I've had a tumultuous relationship. I've had a horrible breakup. I've had this too. I remember feeling that way. I remember putting in my earphones and listening to like, what's an example? I think there's like one Adele song. What song is it? I'll have to think about it and tell you later. But there's one Adele song that just broke my heart. Okay. And I felt like I could feel my own feelings in that song. And I would put in my earphones and I would just cry. And I was like, this is such a powerful moment of connecting with someone else's story, with your feelings and their feelings, across the seas, long distance. I was like, if I could ever do that one day with my music and someone could listen to it and just relate to it and just like feel like, okay, it's okay to have these feelings. Someone else has had this too. I'm not alone. Like if you could create that and give that to someone, that's just such a special thing, because I've been on the receiving end of it with other people's music. Yeah. And I feel like it's so liberating to feel seen by a piece of art or a song. That's my opinion. It's just my opinion. And there's another song, I remember, I'm sort of ranting and raving now. There's a song by James Morrison, If You Don't Want to Love Me.
Okay.
Yeah. It just broke my heart. I was going through a breakup, another breakup in high school, yet another one. I remember listening to that song and just feeling like I was going to be swallowed alive by that song. I was like, what if I could write a song that would swallow someone alive? No, I don't mean that. But that someone could just dive into and feel comforted or feel held or I don't know. I don't know. Am I making music that makes people feel that way now? I don't know, but that's what I'm aiming for, I think. That's the aim of when I write hot and spicy songs about real feelings. I'm like, the aim is that someone could hear it and find themselves in it and be like, cool, it's not just me. Abby's crazy too.
But I guess it is that thing of the representation of somebody else who shared the same experience or that is saying things that you agree with but you didn't know somebody else had said, and the emotional connection. Yeah.
That's the magic of music. Like, you look at all these songs that get really popular and all these artists that people just love with their whole heart, and it's because they make music that people can find themselves in. People can like wrap their music around them like it's a cozy blanket. Do you have artists that you feel that way about? You listen to their music and you're like, yes, I'm going to wrap myself in this.
Yeah, definitely. I think if I want to feel, like sometimes I want to put something on that is exactly what I feel and I just want to sit in that emotion, and whether it is, I don't know, some like a really powerful classical piece that is just capturing like the intensity and the tones of that, or like I don't know. Sometimes I just you want to feel it, and then other times I want to put something else on to like just be the complete opposite. Like, oh, I feel so tired, but I need to wash the dishes, so I'm just gonna put on like a really upbeat. Like, my favorite album to cook to is a George Benson's album, The Cookbook.
Love it.
And
I'm gonna have to check it out.
Yeah, please do. It's just up-tempo jazz guitar quartet.
Yeah.
Like, not with Benson singing, back before he got into that and was just like playing jazz. And there's something just fun and energy giving.
Cool.
And when I'm like, oh, I've got to cook a meal. I'm just sorry, I know this is a bit of a tangent, but I love putting that album on, and then it's just like, chopping veggies is fun, and like I'm making a soup or like whatever.
Yes.
And I don't know. I like the duality of like, okay, I'm feeling this, but I can put this one on, and it just like lifts me up. Or
it takes you somewhere.
Yeah.
Scoops you up.
Exactly. Or someone's singing about this thing and I feel it, and let's just sit there and we can feel it together.
Yeah.
Be it melancholy or very sad or like longing or whatever the theme is.
And it's not always about lyrics, you know? I feel like before I was sort of talking about lyrics, but I'm like, it's not always about lyrics. Sometimes you don't want any lyrics at all. I love, you mentioned classical music, I love a bit of Baroque.
Baroque. Okay. Yes.
Or whatever it is. I don't know, guys. But the Christmas Concerto by Arcangelo Corelli, that's an example of just being wrapped up like a burrito. Like you're the meat in the burrito and the song is the bread bit.
Interesting.
And you're the meat. You're up with the highs. You're down with the lows. You're spun around. Squeezed into the burrito, and then you're eating.
Well, it's interesting you say this thing about the lyrics, because I am not a lyrics person, I suppose.
Okay, yeah.
Like if someone plays me a song, I'm just immediately drawn to the music, and if it makes me feel something, I'm feeling it, or if it makes me want to like move because it's got a groove, then like I'm in it.
Yeah.
But I really struggle to like pick up the lyrics of the song.
Sometimes the lyrics just aren't that important. It's about the groove and about like the vibe and the feeling.
That is true. Yeah. But I also feel that, you know, when the song's really just about the lyrics, my brain is just like, oh, that was like a cool feel he was doing on the guitar.
Yeah.
Or check out that bass line. And, you know, I'm with somebody who's like more of a lyrics person. Like I use my sister Jessie for an example. She's like an absolute lyrics musician, and she'll play me stuff and it's all for the lyrics, and I'm not listening to the lyrics because I'm listening to the music and off in that world. And I find it so interesting that people can listen to like different things but still get like the same emotional response.
Yeah, totally.
Like yeah, we get it for like instrumental music, but even with like a song that has lyrics, and there's definitely songs where I relate to the lyrics and like I know them and I could, you know, sing along or something, but it's not like something that super comes natural to me. But I can pick up on the vibe.
Yeah.
it's still like expressing it even without that.
Yeah. It might also be to do with like what instruments you learned first and like how you started getting into music and like what you think about first maybe.
Yeah, interesting.
I don't know. Because I often have that. I'll be listening to a song with another person and I'm focusing 100% on the vocals.
Okay.
And I'm like completely locked into those vocals and I'm not really thinking about anything else. And then the person next to me is just thinking about, oh, that rhythm guitar is incredible. And I'm like, yes, different bits for different kids.
Yeah.
I get really distracted by vocals in particular. Like if the vocal take is good, I'm super focused on it. But if the vocal take annoys me, I might just not like the whole song and I might want to just turn the radio off.
Yeah, interesting.
Sometimes I'll get so annoyed when I hear something on the radio, I just smash that whole sound system button, just turn it off. Like I sing properly. Bang. Such a mean thing for me to do.
It's interesting though, and it clearly evokes such a visceral reaction.
Yes. Yes, if someone is singing in a way that bothers me, I don't know. I shouldn't be saying that because I feel like it's not very nice for me to be like that.
I think though that people have such distinct tastes.
Yeah.
And there's lots of crossover, but there's also lots where someone just goes, this is the best insert artist, song, instrumental solo that I've ever heard in my life, and I love it, and I want to share it with you. And then the other person listens and goes, oh no, that is not for me. You know, like pick something controversial like a bagpipe. Some people love the sound of bagpipes and some people like hate it.
Yeah.
But I don't think it detracts from anything. And so similarly, if someone's got like a vocal sound that you're not into, like it doesn't mean that
they're wrong.
Yeah.
It just means that my ears aren't, you know.
You're just into something different.
Yeah. And that's wonderful. You know? The fact that everyone, yeah. It makes the world go round. If everyone liked the exact same music, imagine how boring the radio would be.
Yeah. And not just the radio, but our entire lives.
Yes. 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 I love radio. I love that I can flick through stations and just be presented with music that I didn't choose. I love that.
Yeah, interesting.
I love putting on the radio in the car because I don't have like a Bluetooth connection into the car. So I just have the radio, all my CDs, really. And yeah, I love being exposed to something that I've never heard before. And it's just as easy as putting the radio on and just having a flick, flicking around.
And the thrill that it might be something that is sonically repulsive to you and you'll have to immediately slap the radio back off. But it's exciting because it could be that, or it could be something that you're like, wow, that was awesome.
Yes. And I have to pull over and I have to find out what it is.
Yeah. Like going down the rabbit hole of Critter. Or,
yes, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. Totally. I was going to say something. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah. I think also if you do put on the radio and you hear some music and you're like repulsed by it, it says a lot about like you rather than the thing that you're listening to. It says a lot of, I think to myself, okay, why do I not like this? What is it that's bothering me? What do I think? How is that making me think about my own music and what I want to do differently or what I want to do more of or less of, or like I'm always having a think.
Yep.
In the noggin. I'm always chewing things over. I've always got something cooking up there.
Well, it is interesting because, you know, like this podcast is mostly just about chatting about music, but if you look at like a popular societal change with like social media and things, is like people are often in their like silos of similarity. Yeah. And that thing of if all you're listening to is the music that you know or extremely similar to that style or that artist or whatever it is that you like, and then you hear something slightly different and you go, oh no, that's not in my little wheelhouse. Or do you go, oh, I'm going to try something completely different.
Yeah.
I'm going to listen to that really heavy album or that classical track or that modern jazz record just to expand the mind or to experience something different or to just be doing something that is breaking down the world that is like becoming smaller and smaller. And
yeah, especially with like algorithms. Like before you know it, you'll just be seeing the same stuff that your computer thinks that you want to see.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's so important to be interested and open to other perspectives and other types of music and other, you know, just to the world. Be open to having a listen to what's going on in the world. That's really broad and vague of me to say, but I feel like it's true.
Absolutely. Well, when you mentioned the algorithms thing, I thought of how on my Spotify, if I click shuffle on my liked songs, I'm not presented with a true shuffle of the liked songs. I'm played like a sort of selection of the same songs that it did last time I tried to do that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I was listening, I can't remember if I can recall whose video it was that I saw talking about this issue. I'll put it in like the show notes or something. That someone else said it, and it validated this experience that I've been having for like 12 months, being like, I'd really like to just shuffle and hear just like a really diverse range of stuff that I've saved over the last like 5 years.
Yeah.
Just to like, you know, step around and hear something familiar, but not like what I've just been listening to recently or something. And I was like, why am I just like not... I remember shuffle as a kid being like a real mix of chaos.
Luck of the draw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not like that. And then I heard someone else say that they'd experienced the same thing and they were so frustrated by it. And I was like, wow, like the algorithm is not just in, you know,
It's everywhere.
Yeah.
I had that same experience. I have a really long playlist and it's called Toothbrushing Tunes.
Okay.
And it's just like a smattering of big tunes that I love. And it's got like 100 songs in there or something. And I'll put it on shuffle when I drive somewhere. And I found that it kept playing the same J-Lo song every single time I would press shuffle. And I'm like, no, I want to hear all the tunes. I don't want to keep hearing that same song every time I shuffle it. Anyway, who are we going to submit our feedback form to? Big Music.
Yeah.
Big Computers. .org. .gov. I don't know. Big Spotify.
CC all.
BCC Scout the dog in the corner.
The mastermind behind it all.
The mastermind.
So I've been playing this game with guests. I call it a game.
I love games. I'm ready.
It's more of a segment.
Okay.
Sorry. So
I'll
like,
calm down a bit.
I wish I had a game now when I saw your eyes light up and went, game. So
I love games.
This game is where the guest asks a question of the next guest.
Oh, do I know who the next guest is?
No. And the more exciting part is I have a question for you from the previous guest.
It's like time travel.
It's exactly like time travel.
It's Doctor Who. It's Dr. Abbey. Dr. Luke. No, we don't say that.
All right, so this question is from Mel Settergreen, Australian jazz saxophonist and educator.
Exciting.
What makes you you?
Wow. What makes me me? That's such a huge question. I don't know if I was ready for that. I was expecting something like, do you ever remember your dreams? What's your favourite breakfast? But I got hit with a big question just now.
Yeah.
What makes me me?
Maybe I need to find a better way to introduce this because I have been saying, I've got this game or I've got this fun segment. And then quite a few of the questions left by guests have been heavy-hitting questions. And I haven't given you the heads up of, hey, this one's going to be quite big and make you like consider the entirety of yourself in the universe.
Okay. Well, it's like asking what makes anyone anyone. What makes a person them? What is the essence of a person? Is it a soul? Is it a brain? Is it a squishy, wet little brain in your head? Or is it something magic? Or is it something else? I don't know, guys. No, look, what do I think? What do I think? What am I? What's anyone? What's anything? Why? I've been asking why a lot lately. I've been like, why? What's going on? And why?
To yourself or to other people?
I haven't been saying it out loud to other people for fear of dampening people's vibe. But in my head, I've been like, why? What and why? So, wow. It's like a web of questions. From that central question, there's so many other questions that can come off it. Like a spider with legs coming out of it. I feel like me, I'm Abbey. It's me. I guess I've been built. Maybe I'm like a mosaic, and in all the little bits of the mosaic are like my experiences and lessons I've learned, and the way I see the world, and the things that I love, but also the things that I don't like and why I don't like them. I feel like that's such a messy answer to that question, but yeah, I don't know what makes a person a person. Past experiences, lessons learned, things that we love. I think we see ourselves in everything that we love, you know? Mm-hmm. Everything that you love, it's like a mirror that reflects back on you. And I don't know, maybe we look into that mirror and we see like the path we're meant to be following in life. Maybe. I don't know.
Do you?
Do I what?
Do you see the path?
Do I see the path? I saw this quote, I don't remember who said it, but it's like the things that you love are waiting to love you back, or they do love you back or something.
Wow.
And I'm like, yeah, there's something in that makes sense. Or like, let me just think. Yeah, your passions and your dreams are waiting to dream you back. And I think if you follow that, if you follow all your dreams and all your passions and all the things that make you feel alive, you'll see this beautiful winding garden path down the garden of life. And is there something at the end? I don't know. Or are there just many lovely flowers to smell along the way? Maybe. I'm trying to sniff, guys. I'm trying to take a sniff out of all the flowers of life. That's what I remind myself when things get hard, you know? I'm like, what? Why? Who? And I'm like, hang on a second. What if there are many beautiful, delicious flowers waiting to be sniffed along the path of life? And that's what's going on. I don't know.
It's very inspiring, Abby.
Is it?
I think so.
I just thought of that then. That's off the dome. Straight off the dome. That means head. Off the head, out of my mouth. Straight from the horse's bum.
Oh,
Sorry.
That took a turn.
Sorry. I say that in my vlogs, but I say the ruder version of it, which I shan't be saying now because I don't think Scout wants to hear that. No swearing for Scout. But Scout's the dog, by the way, in the corner of the room. I don't know. What do you think? Why and who and why and what makes a person a person? And did anything I say just then make any sense?
I think what you did make sense. And it was interesting watching you try and grapple with an enormous question that was pitched to you as here's a fun game. And now...
Yeah, well, that wasn't a game for me.
We just watched you try and grapple with like some of the biggest existential questions.
What if life is a beautiful Easter egg hunt? And the different eggs are like the people that change your life, the experiences that you have, the lessons that you learn, and I don't know.
Or maybe this will become an ongoing theme for your vlog. Maybe. Grappling with...
Existential vlogs.mp4.
Yeah.
Oh, yikes.
Well, tell us more about your vlogs, because... If you're talking about the ones on Instagram that are hilarious.
They're not on Instagram.
I know what you're talking about, but it's not on Instagram.
No, they're on the TikToks.
Oh. I think I'm thinking of when I see like a story of yours.
Oh, on my secret Instagram.
It's you talking to the camera.
Yes.
That's what I thought of with the vlog.
Interesting.
And you tell like your hilarious takes on life. But That's separate, so let's not talk about that. Let's talk about the TikTok vlogs.
Yes. I kind of fell off the vlog wagon a little bit this year, but I do love making fun, light-hearted vlogs, a little slice of life, if you will, of day-to-day activities, mainly to do with music. Like that's sort of the whole point of my TikTok. I'm like, I'm Abby. I am a songwriter and a performer, blah, blah, blah. Here is my day going to my gig. Here's what's involved when I have a gig. Here are all the lovely people in my band, blah, blah, blah. And just kind of inviting people into that world.
Mm-hmm.
And I really loved doing that. And having strangers, excuse me. So sorry. Okay. Having strangers be interested and be like, oh, this is cool. I'm going to check out your music. Like, and feeling like you can kind of make friends with strangers in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Stranger danger, obviously. Don't get too crazy with it. But TikTok is a very interesting tool because you can reach all these people that you wouldn't normally reach, like with other apps.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, you can't post something on Facebook and then all of a sudden the whole world is going to check you out and hear your song. Like, that's not how Facebook works. Or to my knowledge, maybe I've been doing it wrong. But I feel like TikTok, it's like you can post something and before you know it, a bunch of people might see it, they might like it, they might check out your song. You might get some hate comments too by random people who really don't like you.
Oh.
Which keeps it fresh. I'm not one to talk because I haven't had any like truly horrific hate comments. I posted a cooking video once of me making a soup. Sounds harmless, I know. But someone commented something really horrible about my soup. And I was like, oh. So yeah, it just kind of opens you up to all sorts of criticisms or, you know, interest, love, hate, luck of the draw. It's the world stage.
So how do you feel as like an in-person artist that loves connection with people?
Yeah.
Also trying to swim in the world of online virtual connection with people, but they're not really people, and they'll say things that are mean that you would never say to a person in real life.
Yeah.
But then they're right there, but also, you know, potentially you get this reach that you could otherwise not get. And
yes, it's like a gamble. It's really weird. I think as when you are a creative person, you have a sensitive heart. Maybe I'm generalizing. This is what I think. I think if you are an artist, you are going to have a sensitive little heart that has a story to share and you feel things deeply and, you know, yeah. You'll see a beautiful raindrop glistening on a flower petal and you'll have a tear fall down your cheek. That's how I feel anyway. And so I feel like when you post something and you're like, this is my song, please don't scream at me. When people love it, that's amazing. It's like being given a big hug. But when someone doesn't like it, I don't know. It's weird. The internet is so weird. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going to happen in the future too with future generations who've been born straight into a comment section. They've just been born and now they're online. I have no idea. I saw this video on TikTok. It was like a viral video of this girl playing her original song and it was beautiful. It was truly beautiful. And I was like, oh, this is what TikTok's all about, discovering someone with a beautiful song, a beautiful voice, someone who plays the instrument beautifully. And I always feel so inspired and so happy when I find that. And then I open the comments and the top comment, which had like tens of thousands of likes on the top comment, was someone saying, gee, music really isn't for everyone.
Oh.
And then the second comment was like someone just criticizing the way she looked with some, you know, quick, snappy little silly comment off the cuff. And it had thousands of likes. And every time someone likes a hate comment, it boosts it and it becomes like, you know, the top comment.
Yeah.
And I don't know what's going on. There's this weird culture of like, it's funny to be mean if what you say, or like it's okay to be mean if what you say is funny enough or like observant enough or something.
Right.
If you hit the nail on the head with your mean comment, then you'll be the star of the show. And I'm like, sorry, that's not how it was back in my day, in the old school days. We were nice to each other back in my day.
That was the culture of Darwin.
I don't know. I don't know. I've said that many times. I don't know. But what can you do but just keep sharing, keep posting, try and have a thick skin, keep sharing your art. For every 1,000 people that don't like it, maybe there'll be another 3,000 people that do like it. And I don't know. It's weird. You can't really be a musician without constantly sharing things on social media. Really? That's how it feels for me anyway.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have to do that and you can still make it work, I would love to know how. But there is something humiliating being like, here's my picture, here's my thing, here's my post. Everyone look. That can be humiliating if you are not feeling the vibe.
Especially when you've put so much effort into your art and then you suddenly have to go, oh, I've spent years crafting my skills as an instrumentalist, you know, with it being your vocals or your songwriting skills. And it's like, oh, and now I have to do the social media monkey part of the life to just, you know, put it out and get it seen by people because otherwise, you know.
It feels embarrassing sometimes.
I think it's a very interesting challenge for like the current music climate of especially young people.
Yes.
Like we've been really lucky with the podcast to get to speak to quite a range of different people. And like I think of the very first podcast, Greg Arnold from Things of Stone and Wood. And, you know, that's like a local Australian folk rock band from the 90s that got picked up by Sony and, you know, was on sort of one of the last waves of like a true organic band that got picked up by a record label rather than, you know, sort of the independent bands that came from like the early noughties. And now the whole record label support system is completely flipped to if you create all of the traction around you and the popularity, then we'll come in at the end and give you some extra help. So then there's all these young musicians being like, oh, I have to post on social media all the time because I need to be able to break through to get more people to like me or like my post or share my song.
Yes.
And only then once I have the, you know, grassroots thing built up, will I get support from somewhere else rather than like a record company going, hey, I heard your latest single or I came to your gig.
Handle it.
That's awesome. I really like what you're doing. Let's help you build that, or let's give you some studio time, or, you know, what can we do to keep building it up? And I think it's interesting to see what will happen next with the music making.
Yes.
And like, you know, where do you think it will go? How do you think that this current, like, oh, we're all trying to break through on social media to get enough attention to help the music? You know, do you foresee that just being the continuation, or potentially there being some other crystal ball that you have to see the future that you could lead us down the path of?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know if I can lead anyone down any sort of path. I could show you which flowers to take a good hearty sniff on. No, look, that's such a good question. It's such I just don't have the answers. I don't have the answers. All I can really talk about is how I feel and what I think, really. And I know that when you've just been scrolling and looking and absorbing and just seeing everything and, you know, mixing it all around in your head, sometimes you will see someone being like, hey, this is my song that I wrote, but your head's so saturated with everything else you've seen that you're just like, oh, I don't know, and you just scroll away. Even if it could be your next favorite song or it could be really beautiful, like, it's so hard when everyone, when I say everyone, I mean like every person who is trying to be an artist, trying to make music, everyone's like, this is my song, this is my thing, this is my gig. After a while, it's just like, okay. And you're just sort of scrolling. And I'm like, I don't want to be like that. I want to be inspired and excited and interested. And so I'm like, maybe it's about the scrolling and scrolling less. Scrolling with intention.
Interesting.
As a consumer of social media. I don't know.
You should put that on a t-shirt, scroll with intention.
Scroll with intention. Yes. I don't know what we're going to do.
I've taken way too much of your time. You've been so lovely and generous.
I feel like I've just been talking rubbish. I hope I made sense.
Yeah.
I hope I was cool, relatable and fun and everyone had a lovely time listening. I hope I wasn't the most horrible girl in the world who was horrible and confusing on the track.
I didn't get any of that. I had a really nice time talking with you.
I had a lovely time, Luke.
I'd like to finish with a quick 5-question quick answer game.
Got it. Ready.
What is your favourite venue to play in Melbourne?
Favourite venue to play in Melbourne? Okay, it's not going to be quick because I've got to think.
Okay.
I'm thinking about sound. I'm thinking about as a vocalist who's given me awesome sound.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, do you know what? Oh, what's it called? Is it still called the Brunswick Ballroom? The
Yes.
upstairs place? Is it?
Oh, now you've thrown me with the words
I think
upstairs.
it used to be called the Spotted Mallard.
Yeah, that's the Brunswick Ballroom.
I played there, I remember when, but the sound was just so crispy. And as a singer, when you've got crispy sound, I just feel like I sing 1,000 times better.
Yeah,
I'm
okay.
so immersed in the vibe and I feel so connected with the crowd and with myself and so aware of what's going on around me when the sound is good. And I feel like I do such a better gig when the sound is good. When the sound is bad, I'm just like, after one song, I'm like, oh, can I go home?
I think we've all experienced that.
Yes. Okay, that's my answer.
What's your dream venue to play at?
Oh, a dream venue. Ooh, maybe like a festival stage where there's lots of people having a good time.
That's lovely.
I don't know what festival, but I've had that experience with the Mamas before and I'd like to have it again.
Mm-hmm.
Very unique specialness to it.
Yeah, festivals have a vibe and a character and an energy.
Yeah.
All right, what is your coffee order?
My coffee order. At the moment, it's so dumb. It's like a decaf soy flat white.
Okay.
And I ordered that from my barista friend and she was like, decaf? What's wrong? She said, what's wrong? And looked me in the eye. I said, nothing's wrong. So you have to ask my psychologist because I don't know. Trying to figure it out.
All right. Well, what's your favourite place to get food after a gig?
Food after a gig. Favourite place to get food after a gig. Hungry Jack's. I get the Rebel Whopper. The vegan. You're giving me that look. Is that wrong? Is Hungry Jack's cancelled?
I don't go to Hungry Jack's, so I don't know what the Rebel Whopper is.
Oh, it's the vegan burger.
Okay.
It's like the fake meat. And it's really good.
Mm-hmm.
You know, wouldn't have it every night because you've got to mix it up. But for special gigs, special night, special dinner, I'm in the HJ's drive-through. I say, is Jack in? Give me your most rebellious Whopper. And then I munch it and I crunch it. And I get extra pickles ×3. I'm very specific about that. And then when I get home, I'll put in more sauce. Yeah. It has to have heaps of sauce on it. Sorry.
I think this podcast has been a really awesome look at the incredible diversity that is Abbey Rose. From really deep and meaningful lyrics to an intense, biting and uncomfortable humour.
Uncomfortable humor.
Like sitting down to watch The Office.
I love The Office.
Me too.
I feel like I want to ask you 5 quick questions.
Well, I didn't
there
get to finish
time?
it. No,
Sorry.
I've got the final question.
Sorry. Okay.
Serious question. What's one piece of advice that you would give to your younger self?
Wow. One piece of advice. Is it advice or is it just sage words of, I don't know,
However you'd like to define it.
sageness? I would say you always figure it out. I would tell myself that as a reminder. Like even when things have been really crunchy and tough, I've always figured it out. I've always managed to figure it out. I think when you're in the thick of things, it can just feel like, oh, there's absolutely no hope. I have no idea what's going on. But then I look back and I'm like, oh, I think of all the other times that I felt like that, and I always figured something out. I always figured out a way to make things work.
Mm-hmm.
And just remind myself that I can figure it out and I will figure it out. Don't get stuck,
Yeah.
you know? That's what I would tell myself.
Oh, that's awesome.
Thank you.
Well, thanks so much for coming on the podcast.
Thank you for having me on the podcast.
It's been so nice just to hear everything, and you're such a talented musician.
Thank you.
And you make amazing music videos. They are well worth a check out. For anyone who wants to get in contact with you or to listen or purchase your music, what's the best way for them to do that?
Oh, yeah. Just at Abbey Rose Music. Abbey, like Downton Abbey.
Thank you so much for coming on the podcast, Abby.
Luke, it's been a pleasure, and it's lovely to see you again. Lovely to see an old friend
Yeah.
from the good old days. We used to hang out in the practice room, Hip Streets.
Throwback.
There were some fun times.
So many.
Open studio gig with the Hip Streets. Thank you very much for having me on the podcast and asking me so many thoughtful questions. And I hope everyone had a lovely time.
Yeah.
I don't know. Hope everyone looks after themselves. Lots of love from Abbey Rose. Love you, everyone. Bye.
Okay, bye. Thanks for joining us on Our Drummers Musicians. I hope you enjoyed getting to know another Melbourne muso like I did. Help us grow by leaving a review, share the podcast with friends and family, and subscribe on our website for extra info. Got a guest you'd love to hear on the show? Please let us know at ourdrummersmusicians.com. See you next time.
Okay, my question is, it's five-pronged. It's a five-pronged question. Name 5 times where you felt enveloped by and at home within a song. So I guess the question is 5 songs where you felt like you burrowed and nestled into the song and made it your house, your sonic house. 5 tunes, that's the question. Bye.